In the frozen Arctic, there is no soil to dig, no trees to burn, and temperatures so low that even steel itself can crack. So what happens when someone dies? Where do the Inuit leave their dead when burial becomes impossible and cremation is nearly non-existent? Some say they leave them nowhere. They say that a green creature comes in the darkness of the night and takes the bodies away. And one researcher claims that he saw it with his own eyes. But what he witnessed that night was so terrifying that he refused to ever return there again. And the most frightening part, what he discovered in the end changes everything. Let's find out where the Inuit dispose of their dead. Life in the Arctic is unlike anywhere else on Earth. For most of the year, the ground is completely frozen, a solid layer of ice and rock, known as permafrost. Digging a grave can take days, sometimes weeks, and in many cases, it is completely impossible. As for firewood, it is extremely rare. No forests, no trees, only ice, snow, and relentless wind. That is why cremating bodies is almost impossible. And here arises the terrifying question: when a person dies, what do they do with the body? For centuries, the Inuit had no modern tools, no drilling machines, no fuel, and no equipment. But death did not wait. And over generations, this harsh reality gave birth to some of the darkest stories ever whispered by humans. But one story surpassed them all: the story of the green creature. In the early 20th century, a European researcher specializing in anthropology traveled deep into Inuit territory. His goal was simple: to document burial rituals and ancient traditions. At first, everything seemed normal. The villagers were friendly, calm, and welcoming. But the moment he asked about death, the atmosphere changed completely. Eyes were lowered, voices softened. A long silence filled the air. Finally, one of the elders spoke. He told the researcher that when someone dies, they do not bury them. Instead, they place the body outside the village. Then, they wait, because something always comes. A creature, tall, thin, glowing with a faint green light in the darkness. They said it moves across the ice without leaving a trace, without sound, without footsteps, and when it reaches the body, it lifts it effortlessly and disappears into the frozen night. The researcher thought this was nothing more than a myth, a story to scare children or comfort the living. Until, one night, they allowed him to witness it himself. The temperature that night was below -40 degrees. The wind howled across the endless fields of ice, and the sky shimmered with the lights of the aurora borealis. The body of someone who had recently died was placed on a flat rock outside the village. It was carefully wrapped in animal skins. No prayers, no rituals, only silence. The villagers returned to their huts, and the researcher remained alone. Hours passed. The cold became unbearable. Then, in the distance, he noticed movement. At first, he thought it was merely a shift in the lights of the sky. But the shape began to become clearer. Something tall, something thin, something glowing faint green. It moved across the ice without disturbing the snow. No sound, no footsteps, no breath. As it approached the body, the researcher felt overwhelming terror. He later wrote that every instinct inside him was screaming for him to run. But he stayed. The creature reached the body. It bent down, lifted it, and within seconds, both disappeared into the eternal Arctic darkness. The ice beneath showed no trace, no footprints, no marks, nothing. By morning, the body was gone, and the villagers simply said, "It has been taken." The researcher left the area a few days later and never returned. But decades later, scientists offered another explanation. And the truth may be far more mysterious than we can imagine. In reality, the ways the Inuit deal with their dead vary from region to region. In many places, bodies are placed on raised platforms, inside stone graves above the ground, in natural ice caves, or left exposed, carefully wrapped. These are the common methods they actually use. Over time, the extreme cold completely freezes the body. Then scavenging animals, powerful winds, and slow decomposition erase all traces. In some cases, bodies slide into deep ice cracks and are never seen again. But despite these practical methods, the Inuit still believe that someone comes and takes the dead. The story told by the researcher and the legend of the green creature live in their minds and are deeply respected. Science, however, sees things differently. The phenomena witnessed by the researcher can be explained by extreme cold, powerful winds, the natural movement of bodies, and sometimes human imagination under fear and isolation. Yet even today, no one can say with certainty what truly happened that night. And here, the question remains for you, the viewers. Is the Inuit belief closer to the truth? Or is the scientific explanation correct? Or is the truth somewhere in between and perhaps more mysterious than we can even imagine? In the end, the snow does not lie, but human stories always raise more questions than they answer. Thank you to everyone who stayed with me until the end. We will meet again soon.